Welcome everyone to a beautiful rainy day in my neck of the woods. We've had some intense heat and today and tomorrow promises to be slightly cooler, perhaps humid, but definitely some rain, which we are really appreciating. And in the background, you might be hearing some raindrops falling. I hope everybody's well and that you've enjoyed your weekend. I can't believe we're heading towards the end of January already. And this past weekend, I'm very blessed that I was able to complete and celebrate my 365 Earth Days. So yes, a very special weekend with many special treats and all my special people around me, knowing just what I like, my sweet tooth, and this very thoughtful gift, a hand repair mask, which I'm going to really enjoy using sometime during this week. I see there's 3 in a pack, so there'll be a few days of special treats for my hands as they get stuck into some crochet projects. And now let's have some fun with my mixed bag of makes for January. I started off the beginning of the month and I have some notes here for myself of what each make is, who the designer is, and the material that I used to make it. I don't know what it was. I think sometimes Instagram really pulls you in a direction you're not sure you want to go, but everybody's doing something along those lines, and then you go, perhaps I should be thinking about that too. Now, I'm not a very seasonal crocheter, meaning I don't always crochet Valentine's things for Valentine's Day or Easter for Easter. Even sometimes in the middle of April I might feel like making something for Christmas, and if there is a pattern that I've been holding on to, or I see something in somebody's video and it sparks an idea, then I'll hunt for whatever it is that I have lying around. And even though it might be a Christmas make or something we don't have here, like Thanksgiving or Halloween, then I'll make that because I have a feeling, I feel the creativity for that specific make. And so it was sort of strange during December, towards the end of December, I was already seeing posts come up for bunnies. And I remember thinking to myself, oh my goodness, it's like the back to school season here by us. We don't even have Christmas finished with, and they were taking out all the pencil crayons and books and everything for back to school. And I'm going, we haven't had Christmas. We haven't even celebrated New Year's. But I know it's how the shopping scene goes. Anyway, but I did see a lot of bunnies popping up. And I thought to myself, yeah, that's Easter's quite a way away. But it reminded me of a few patterns that I have that I do make regularly because I enjoy making them. So I took out my baby cake bunny pattern by Nina's Time. This time I made it though with a 2.5mm hook, Cartapo Cotton Love. So 51% acrylic and 49% cotton. And I got this cute little bunny with her overalls and little beanie, little tail, too cute. And I really enjoyed making it. Now, I don't very often crochet with cotton. I do make home items with cotton, practical things with cotton, but not so much amigurumi. I do feel it puts a lot of strain on my hands. I don't know if it's because it doesn't have much spring to it, but every now and then I will still attempt to make one, as I did with this one, mix of cotton and acrylic, and I thought it came out just too cute. So that's Baby Cake Bunny by Nina's Time. It's a paid pattern that I have had for a while now, And then of course I didn't stop at one bunny. I remembered a pattern that I often go back to. I've made this particular little bunny. It's the Hopscotch bunny from the Total Crochet Ami magazine, which is from a while ago, a few years ago. Also the 2.5 millimeter, and I had that Cotton Love yarn out, so I decided to make this bunny, and I knew it would come out small. Now I've made this bunny many times before, including in plush yarn, the same pattern, same stitch counts, and it came out really huge. But so this is the little Hopscotch bunny from the Total Crochet Ami magazine, and I thought he was also just too cute, and I just put a little yellow ribbon on it. No particular rhyme or reason, it just appeared to be beginning of January, bunnies were coming up, and I had a hankering for making a couple, which I did do. And I was also looking for a snake pattern, and I had seen last year there were many people making these long straight little snake for market preps and things like that. I just thought it would be interesting to try and make one, but I didn't like any of the patterns. They were maybe too snake-like or too rigid, or I don't know, there was something about it that wasn't really taking my fancy. And then I saw them putting it on those snap bracelets, and I thought, oh, I'm sure the boys enjoy that and the girls, but you know, to have this cute little snake that they could run around with attached to their wrist. Nothing really caught my attention until Crochet Grove released her snake crochet pattern, and I did make that one. You can see the first one that I made up here. My daughter chose the two colors, but I was really wanting to try the rainbow one, so my husband did take me all the way into town to choose some rainbow colors, and these are the ones that we came up with. And I really enjoy this little snake pattern. I think the face reminds me of some of the cartoon movies that I enjoy watching, and yes, it really does wrap around your wrist, which I thought was also fun. So I'm not sure if I'd make a whole lot of them, but I think it's a really cute, unusual, but friendly looking snake. And snakes they do have a bad name, but they are very important to the environment as well. So at last I found the pattern that I really enjoy. So if I'm ever needing to make something like this sort of character, this is the pattern I'll be going to. I don't think I'll have to try any others out. And this is the snake crochet pattern by Crochet Grove, and I used Kismet plush velvet 100% polyester with a 4mm hook. I enjoyed that. I've got them wrapped around my little hanging stand over here. This one will go back with his buddy when we're done. And sometime at the beginning of January as well, I was looking not specifically for anything, but I did come across on YouTube a tutorial by Yarn Andy, and it was for these little Flexagon Fidget Toys. And I had some scrap yarn ends, and I don't always like to let anything go to waste, so I decided, oh, I'm going to make myself one of these, and if I don't need it, then it will go in with my donate basket. So I made the first one really quick and easy to make, and I decided to use some of my Elise Velito plush yarn, and I made one out of those yarn ends as well. And this was also to show the difference between the two plush yarns that I know we have, or that I've tried to create Amigurumi with, is the Kismet plush and the Elise Velito. Now the difference between the two is that the 100-gram ball of Kismet gives you 120 meters, but it is very thin. I have tried making plush project patterns with it, and they always turn out really, really tiny. They don't look like those, like the pattern that you've bought, a big, nice plush object. They come out quite smaller. Whereas the Belize Velito, which I enjoy using for any plush makes, the 100-gram ball only has 68 meters. So whenever we see designers overseas making patterns for their plush Amis, and you have a look at how much meterage they use, or even if they say the grams and then you sort of work out the meterage, we always need at least 3 of these just to make one plush toy. And for those people that make these plush toys, the big ones, not the very small objects, but those that use Elise Velito to make the large plush patterns, it really is very costly, because only 68 meters, and then you have to use 3 balls. It's normally over 60 Rand for one ball. I'm not sure how those people at markets here by us manage to sell the plushy toys when they make this. And with the Kismet, much more cost effective, but the plush toys do come out much smaller. And the next item that I made during January was, I couldn't resist. Towards the end of last year, I think I did come across my favorite plush item to make, and that was, and I'm sure many people made it as well, was the Della duck Lovey. Now, I had made quite a few. I know I even made one for my daughter when she was in hospital last year. It really is an adorable, cute, out of all those that you get, because I know you get, and I've seen many people crochet these little plushies, and they do such a wonderful job with them. They don't always work for me, but this little duck seemed to take to my hook and me to it. So when she noted that she was going to be making the baby Della duck, I knew I was going to want that little that pattern. And I did get it in January, beginning of January. And this is the little baby Della duck. Oh my gosh, and it is adorable. And the pattern, like the first one, was very easy to follow. It was so sweet. She gives you a little option for a cap and also for a little bonnet, which I thought was such a surprise because I didn't know that came with the pattern. So you can see the mama and the baba. So these are going to, I just know that these two will remain of my favorites to make. The baby Della duck Lovey and the Della duck Lovey. And their the little hats that went with the baby Della duck. I thought that was just too adorable. Oh, I think it was just a week? Was it 2 weeks ago already? That Crochet Grove did a YouTube tutorial for bunny in overalls. So I thought, oh my gosh, here we go. You see, there is a bunny theme coming through somewhere. And I couldn't resist but make the bunny in overalls and hat. And that came out just too cute. But you see now with this, I've made one. This will be the only one. Great tutorial on YouTube by Crochet Grove. I know there's also a little carrot purse that goes with it. Can you believe it? Of all the colors that I was able to get, there wasn't one orange. So there we go. Third bunny for the month down. I was able to finish my first pattern stash buster, which I did speak about. I chose Critter Dollies and Rattle by Projectarian. Now, yeah, I'm going to read because I did write a little bit of info down. So my stash buster I chose, and I'm most probably not pronouncing this correctly, but I'll have the word up on the screen, is a gyral, a reptile. And this was my make. This is a fish-eating crocodile. And I thought it was too cute. As cute as can be for a reptile. Now what I love about Projectarian's patterns is the details that she goes into to make things 3D, like with these eyes, and the attention to detail of the character that she has written the pattern for. Now the gyral, aka gavel or fish-eating crocodile, this is from Wikipedia. Adult males have a distinct boss at the end of their snout, which resembles an earthenware pot known as a gyra, hence the name, the gyral. This little boss. They are critically endangered, and they currently inhabit rivers in the plains of the northern part of the Indian subcontinent. They are well adapted to catching fish because of its long narrow snout and 110 sharp interlocking teeth. But no teeth here, and I love making characters like this where even as a person making it, if you did decide to just look up exactly what character it was that you were making, what an interesting story to pass on to the person who's getting it. And I love reading buddies, so to me this would be a great reading buddy for somebody who enjoys imagination. They would have this little representation of a fish-eating crocodile on their bookshelf as a very interesting character for a reading buddy. So I was quite happy with this make, and I'm glad that I made one. I did use Ella Charity for this, also 2.5mm hook, and what I used color wise was apple green and kiwi salad for the variegated. So there's our little fish eating crocodile. And the second make was from the same designer, and it was a rattle. Now the strange thing is I used the same yarn, just different colors, also 2.5mm hook, and sometimes, like I've heard other people mention as well, sometimes there's a color in a certain range that just seems to be thicker than what you would expect. And that was for me the school gray that I used for this. And this is my, well, her pattern, my take on a puffin, and it's a rattle. And whoever this does go to need not worry, because I know what noisy toys sound like when you have a whole lot of them running around in the house with them. So this one is rather gentle, but I think would be intriguing to a little one. And those are my two stash busting pattern for January, done and dusted. I do believe that scores me a credit, which I'll keep in a little mental note for later on during the year. So folks, those were my makes for, oh no wait, over the weekend. Very easily distracted. But I just loved it, and I make my husband many of these. Is the Heartstrings coaster by MJ's Off the Hook. And I couldn't resist. I saw the tutorial and I just knew, again, it doesn't have to be Valentine's Day. I just knew I've made him so many little heart projects as well. That's the funny thing. And he's kept all of them. I always open a drawer and I see, oh, these are all the past ones, but they're still here. He loves them. So I did make him a little heart coaster. And now that I'm thinking about it, I think I'm going to make everyone in the family one, or with their favorite colors, blues, purples, greens, and an orange. And I think they're really going to enjoy that. And that's all the makes for January, folks. Until we meet again, happy crocheting!